come on out to FETC 2017 and learn how we've programmed for everybody in IT and education.
On today's show, we'll have an encore presentation of the interview with Bruce Umpstead. We'll talk about Adobe's Voco voice editing program. We'll have the Google Tip of the Week, our featured artist, and more. Stay tuned. EduTechGuys Radio, radio.edutechguys.com.
The opinions expressed on the site and its programs are those of participants and not intended to and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of any specific educational entity, sponsor, company, state, or government agency.
Hello and welcome to EduTechGuys Radio, brought to you by Southwest Arkansas Education Cooperative and Hope Public Schools, both located in Hope, Arkansas. I'm Dave.
Hey, I'm Jeff.
There you go.
What's with the shortened names?
You know what? It's going to be informal. You know, hey, if you don't know me by now.
There you go. See, look at there.
There it is.
Little harmony.
Little.
That's what we have.
Is that what we have?
Never bugs.
We're like
little bit of harmony.
little bit of harmony.
Never bugs. That's from the wonderful Peter Pan Hook with Robin Williams. If you haven't seen it, that's
there you go.
I
thought we were doing like an Ebony and Ivory thing.
Got way off topic on that one, didn't we?
Ebony.
It happens.
Okay. Anyway.
So yeah, hey, today on today's show, first of all, thanks for listening. Catch us on the web, www.edutechguys.com. Go out to social media. Just go to Google, type in EduTechGuys, you'll find us. If you go to a social media site and after.com/put EduTechGuys, we'll probably be there.
And if we're not there, let us know and we'll get there.
Unless it's just an inappropriate site, then we're not doing it. So.
Oh, that is a good point. Yeah.
Although we might be EduTechGuys in inappropriate sites.
We might be. We probably should be.
There's another EduTechGuys out there spelled completely different.
Oh, that's true. There could be. I don't even know how that works.
But yeah, hey, check us out on the web. You can go to the main site, drop to the bottom of the page, fill out a form. Let us know what you think of the show, what you don't think of the show, what you think of us, anything you want to put on there.
That's right.
Also, catch us at #ETGChat. And that's a great way to get in touch with us and let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one of the things that I don't know, it's so funny what happens in technology sometimes, where something comes out and it catches fire and everybody's talking about it right then. And then other things come out and it takes a while for it to, I don't know, kind of develop or, depending on your opinion, fester before it pops open and the world's like, did you see this? Did you hear about that? So that's one of the things that we're talking about today. And that is Adobe's Voco voice recognition editing software. So we have sound editors, right? You have things like Audacity or GarageBand.
Or
exactly.
Pro Tools, all the big stuff.
Yes, exactly. And so you can go in and you can edit files. And there are some very, very good editors who could take a string of things that you've said and piece them together and make it sound kind of like
pitch and the timbre and make it sound like you said it. Yeah,
exactly. Okay, well now Adobe is working on software. It's not available yet. Let's be clear about that. Okay, it's not out there for the general public yet, but they have developed software that after the speaker puts in about 20 minutes worth of speech. I'm assuming, I don't know if there's like a set paragraph that the person has to read. Right, exactly. I don't know if it's something like that, or if it's just a casual, hey, we can take about 20 minutes of anything you've ever said and drop it into this program. It learns your inflection, it learns your vocals, and then cuts it up into all the phonemes, which are the bits of sound that we make when we form words. It breaks all those down, and then when you type in the words you want the program to say, it says them in your voice.
Oh my goodness. You know, this is kind of Tom Cruise Mission Impossible stuff. Remember when he had the face carved and then he put the thing on his neck and he sounded like the dude? Because he got him recorded, saying stuff?
Yes.
So Adobe's been thinking about this for some time.
They've been thinking about it.
Why would you need that?
My guess is, I don't know. I really don't. I don't know what, and here's the thing. Adobe is just now actually, they showed this off back in November of 2016. And for whatever reason, and I will tell you, it created a stir at the time, but for whatever reason, it just seems to be coming to a head. I guess, the world's kind of waking up after Christmas and going, hey, did you see this? What is this?
What's going on?
After the Thanksgiving has digested and then the Christmas is digested, everybody's coming out of their, what is that? that
turkey coma.
Yes, and I was trying to think of the big fancy
Nicotine.
word. No, that's
Tryptophan.
Not it. Tryptophan. Coming out of their tryptophan comas and going, holy crap, Adobe's doing what?
I'm sorry, that just put my brain in a whole other place. I need a tryptophan patch. Anyway, go ahead.
So
what's Jeff doing? He's asleep. He's got 2 tryptophan patches.
He's got the patch. I'm assuming, and again, I'm assuming, so I don't know this, but I'm assuming that this is a project that Adobe has been working on, and my guess is there are certain government and or military organizations who have already been playing with this, using this in some
Tom
way.
Cruise used it in Mission Impossible. That stuff is real, man.
Okay. Here, have another patch.
Hold on just a second. My bunny Harvey's talking to me. Yes, go ahead.
Exactly. So it was basically revealed to the public that this is something they've been working on. So yeah, ultimately it goes back to the question you just asked though. Why? Why are we doing this? Why are they doing this? Why create software? And they are really pitching it as Photoshop for audio.
Oh, that's really wild.
And it's funny to me, you look at how much trouble people have gotten into because of Photoshop. And I happen to be, I read a few things on Reddit, which is a good place to read things. If I'm going to read it, Reddit, I read it. So there you go. And there were several comments and threads through the discussion about Voco. And a couple of people said, yeah, but you can look at an image and you can tell if it's Photoshopped or not. Generally speaking, well, I won't even say generally speaking. In some cases, yes, it's obvious where the Photoshop comes in. In other cases, though, it's dang near impossible to figure out what's real and what's Photoshop.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, though, to hear the audio because human voice is really hard to replicate.
Right. Well, in the demo, at the end of the demo, one of the things that, and I apologize, I can't remember the name of the guy who was demoing the software, but at the end of the demo, he talked about Adobe is going to have some kind of provisions in place, almost like watermarking. So there will be an underlying audio layer that you could pull out and determine whether this was real or not. Mm-hmm. To me, it's very similar to, I don't know if you've seen any of the cool stuff that some folks are doing, and I can't remember the name of it either, and I wish I could have thought my head. I messed around with it for just a little while, a couple of years ago, where you can take a piece of audio and run it into an oscillator and see the image behind it. So you could actually do that as the watermark. And that would be the test to see if it was real or not, is the image that would show up on the oscillator in analysis.
I guess it would be kind of neat because, this is really true. You could do stuff like take Harry Truman's voice and put it in and then take his entire autobiography or biography and he reads it. And that's the book on tape is Harry Truman actually reading his biography.
Exactly.
That's interesting stuff. And that's for entertainment purposes. I could see that being really cool things. And bringing history a little closer, I don't know if there's any audio recordings of Abraham Lincoln or, things like that. If there was just even cylinders and that was like enough to get his voice where it's him reading the Emancipation Proclamation or something like that. That's really amazing. I mean, that would be educationally and just historically, that would be like, wow, that's really cool. I listened to the actual voice of him reading. And that might have been what it sounded like when he read it, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. Well, and what they're touting it as is a way for, say, let's say you've got somebody who comes in and they have done an audiobook. And as you go back through the recording, you realize there's a place they messed up. Well, if you have all that audio, then you could just fix it right there without having to bring them back in. Or in one of the Reddit threads, they had a really cool discussion about games. Look at the different games where
you could use somebody's real voice.
Yeah, and you have characters who in games don't say anything, and you get the little text on the screen because frankly, it costs a lot of money to bring in the person and do that. Well, if there were some kind of a rights thing and say, hey, you have the right to use my voice even if I don't come in at a lower cost because you don't have to pay.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
All of a sudden you have all these characters in all these games talking, or you have a character in a game. Maybe you're the character and the character, I lost my train of thought. Oh, I know. You're playing a character and your character speaks to the other characters in your voice.
Oh, that's even great. Like you
I mean,
read the
how
first
cool
bit of
is
stuff.
that?
That would be really
Yeah.
cool.
How
That's
cool
pretty
is
amazing.
that?
That's pretty amazing.
But, and I can definitely see the scary side. I mean, you could
Yeah.
literally have anybody saying anything. All you do is type it in, and there it is.
So it's Voco.
It is Voco. You can follow more information about it. Hashtag VOCO.
Cool. Well, there you go. Hey, we'll definitely talk about it more when it becomes available, or maybe hits beta, or it's more readily available. We'll definitely talk about it on the show and its implications in education, ed tech, the world, my personal life, and anything else. No, not my personal life. Hey, but listen, on today's show, we're gonna back up a little bit and get a great interview with Bruce Umpstead, who's going to talk about the tech side of FETC and what the new tracks are there and what's going to happen at FETC. We're ramping up to FETC. It's 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
So in 2 weeks, you'll be able to catch us every day on the interwebs, on the internet, on the line. And we'll be able to catch us and listen to what's going on at FETC, because we'll be right there in the thick of it, really right outside all the sessions. And we'll be letting you know what's going on, have a lot of the session presenters sit down in the chairs and the attendees. So it'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, today's Bruce Umpstead. We have a little music from Nick C.
Cool.
And then we have a great Google tip of the week. So, hey, sit back, relax, and take a listen to Bruce Umpstead. We'll be back after this.
Bruce, welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Would you let everybody know who you are and where you are and kind of what you do, and then you can jump straight into what you're going to be doing at FETC.
Great. My name is Bruce Umpstead. I am managing partner of my own consulting firm. I call it Scale Up Education Partners, and I have, for the last year, I've been working with LRP Publications that runs the FETC show to design a IT summit, a pre-summit on the future of IT and education. And I'll be serving as chairperson and also a facilitator for the one session that it's a panel conversation on the return on instruction. That was a title that I came up with, and we'll be focusing on it from the IT side. I also serve as the IT track chairperson for FETC 2017, and that means that I was able to pick the 30 presenters that will fill out the concurrent sessions and workshops that run on a Thursday and Friday of FETC 2017. So that's what I've been doing.
Man, you've been busy then. So.
Yes, I have been busy.
That's a lot of
I think at the end of the day, we probably have about 50 people that I had to tag to be either on panels or in presentations over the 4 days.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you're the one who approved the technology track. That is no small order, man.
Not at all.
Well, and it's the first year that they've had the track. It was funny. We got, they have a solicitation, or what I call a slush pile. We had like 94 come in, slotted for IT, and about half of them were really ed tech, so classroom focused. And so I had to kind of call out of the remaining half, the 30 presentations for the main track. It's a little bit challenging. Really had to rely on my network kind of come through there. But IT is becoming a more critical part of education and ed tech, everything that happens behind the wall, servers, routers, hubs, the cloud, data security, data privacy, all of those concerns typically belong to the IT leader in the building, and that's what the track and the pre-summit is all about, is focusing on helping IT leaders make better decisions and stay on top of cutting edge software and trends.
Well, that's and like you said, and I've been to FETC once before, a couple of years ago, and like you said, so that's actually a new focus for FETC, because in the past it's been much more the curriculum side, the ed tech side, and so to have a track that is specifically focused on the technology side, that's new.
Yes, I've been in education tech for probably about 12 years. In 2007, I became the Michigan State Ed Tech Director, so working with the Michigan Department of Education. It was a first-time position there at the department, and we really didn't have a focus on the IT side. Mostly it was like I was hired to roll out an online high school graduation requirement, and we had a lot of people in that space already, so I kind of gravitated more towards data systems, instructional data systems, and the things that actually made it easier for teachers to do their instruction, like really providing technology to the point of instruction, but allowing others to kind of focus on the pedagogical and in student-focused applications.
Sure.
And so this is just a natural role for me to kind of roll over to LRP Publications, which is a trade show organization that operates FETC 2017. And that's what I'm really excited about, is working with a professional organization that's focused on trade shows and really bringing quality content, and conference programming to the ed tech space.
Yeah, absolutely. So, before we delve too much further, have you been to FETC before, getting involved with
yes.
LRP? Okay, I was just
back
curious.
in 2000. Well, there was a different media company that was operating
Right,
back in 2013. But I showed a documentary film that I'd co-produced called "Look, I'm Learning."
Oh, yeah.
So we showed that down there. They were very generous and allowed us to kind of preview it. Our national release was at South by Southwest EDU. So we previewed it at FETC back in 2013, and I've been attending every year since. It's a good conference, very teacher focused on the front end. So on the back end, it's nice to kind of build out some content for what in the industry might be called business decision makers, or I'm focused on more the IT business decision makers.
Yeah, well, and I think that's from my experience when I've been to FETC, and just kind of what FETC has been up to this point, it really has been that teacher focus. Although you definitely get some of the school technology folks who would come almost, by proxy, as it were, but not have the content specifically aimed at them. So that's very exciting. It really is. That's very cool that you guys are deving out the content to help get some of those folks who might not normally even come to that conference, because it's been so, ed tech, teacher focused. Now being able to bring those folks in there and hopefully get the two sides talking, because that doesn't always happen.
Right. And really the conference is a platform, right? It connects one party with another party and adds value in the transaction. And what LRP really focuses on is getting the content quality up, so that those business decision makers know they're spending that time wisely. And why not? It's Orlando,
right?
January 24th through 27th.
Yeah.
I hail from snowy Michigan. Like, I just got out of there this week for some family vacation. It was like 7 below, and 7. Let's not say below, but it was 7 degrees, and I shoveled 6 inches of snow off my driveway to get my car out on the highway down to Detroit and catch my flight to Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so along that line, so now tell us about your presentation, your session. Give us some insight on what it's about, and a little summary or a big summary of what participants can look forward to.
Right. So there's a Future of IT Summit. It's a joint summit with the leadership summit that Jennifer runs concurrently. So we'll share an opening keynote, which is around return on instruction. And I came up with that title because I'm a finance and strategy person. I'm not really a technologist. Don't let anybody know that. But what I really focus on is technology as a strategy for improving outcomes for students. And more, we're seeing people they're able to back up the request for technology investment with impacts in the classroom. So what I call return on instruction. So Eric will take the keynote, and then I'll pick up there as a facilitator of a panel. And I have 3 people on that panel that I'll be talking with. One is Beatrice Hernandez from Houston Independent School District. She really inspired the panel and the idea of return on instruction. She's the instructional technologist lead for Houston Independent School District. 600,000 students, the largest urban one-to-one, rolled it out to all their high schools after a successful pilot called Power Up. It was so successful, get this, guys, that the curriculum unit at Houston picked it up. Now, when have you heard that the curriculum folks want to pick up and own a one-to-one initiative? Well, they did, and then crude prices dropped. Budget implications made Houston really kind of retrench and ask questions. Should we be continuing this one-to-one initiative? And Beatrice and her team were able to actually deliver not only cost savings, but also return on instruction. Like, how were they impacting subpopulations? according to the federal guidelines, but also local, looking at how minorities are represented and how their performance academically had kind of improved. Free and reduced lunch students. I actually did a tour with her back in 2014, and it's just amazing to see the kind of central support that the Houston Independent School District was providing the local schools, both in terms of choosing the type of curriculum. The one I went to was an all-girls high school focused on pre-AP and AP for college preparatory. And they were all one-to-one. They were using, I think they were using the South Florida framework for measuring technology integration. And then they added a couple other pieces. So really helping that school drive their AP, pre-AP curriculum using one-to-one. So again, it wasn't your traditional one-to-one initiative where they're only measuring 21st century skills. That was actually an additive piece to it. They were measuring actual performance against AP and pre-AP coursework, and they had rolled that out to all of their high schools, and they were able to defend that investment and continued investment because of those instructional gains based on sub-pops and free and reduced lunch and all of that. So pretty exciting to see an urban district be able to sustain the largest one-to-one initiative in the country. So I'm excited to have Beatrice there. She's there all week. She plays there all week. I've got her in not just this session that's on Tuesday for the summit, but I also have her presenting for IMS Global. She's big on interoperability standards, doing her own breakout concurrent session on return on instruction. So she's going to be able to pull up her numbers and go, not line by line, but pretty deep into the numbers on what they use to kind of support that continued investment. That's pretty exciting. So I'm happy to have her on the panel, and she really kind of inspired the whole concept of return on instruction.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But then I have a couple other people on the panel that get me pretty excited too. Jim Peterson, who hails out of snowy Illinois, Bloomington, downstate, kind of. Pretty close to Champaign, where the capital's at. He's been kind of building his own capacity at District 87 for a number of years as a Illini Cloud. So actually offering a private cloud to Illini schools. It's a 3-district cooperative that kind of operates the data centers. They've got redundancy, disaster recovery. They started building their own identity solution and caught the eye of the Gates Foundation, and they have a grant to kind of build what they're calling a K-12 federation, a group of operators, whether that's a state level or regional level around the country, that are offering services. So it's kind of like, it's not really bartering, but it's kind of like bringing a group of operators together to offer different services. So they might offer disaster recovery and identity. Clark County Public Schools is part of that. They might offer cybersecurity and some advanced threat analytics. They've got the New York RICS as part of the founding group, and they provide data systems and some other capacities. And then also Nebraska, they've got a coordinating councils for their education service units. They're all like the founding members of this K-12 federation. And it's really a way to kind of network those districts and those regions and those state operators that are providing services at a much lower cost, whether it is identity or like I said, cybersecurity, disaster recovery, other cloud services. So I'm pretty excited to have Jim on. And then we added Best Buy, which is also going to join. And I mean, there's a reason why you want to show up. And I believe Best Buy is the reason why you want to show up for our pre-conference. There might be some leftover Santa goodies in store for everybody, but we've added Best Buy to the panel to talk to us about how to make those smart buying decisions when you're looking at device and software.
Sure.
And so pretty excited about that. And we have Janet Copenhagen she's from Henry County, Virginia, and she's been a long time IT professional and has had to, slug it out in those budget sessions. And so we wanted to add somebody who's got more of a traditional approach to how she makes those types of buying decisions and investment recommendations, and how she's always been able to support classroom initiatives from a tech perspective. So I'm pretty excited about the panel. A lot to talk about, not that much time, but it's only one of, say, I think 5 or 6 that day, that Tuesday. that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about ecosystems. We're going to do an ecosystem slam. We've got Cliff Lloyd from the state of Tennessee to come and talk to us about device as a service. And then we kind of end the day on a joint panel with procurement. So that's invitation only, free summit. And then I handle the breakout for the IT professionals. So I'm pretty excited about where that's going. And then we have a half day on that Wednesday, the 25th.
Right, man. Yeah, you guys are going to get a pretty decently full slate. Go ahead, man.
What's really cool is I think that the conversations that you're going to start with that's really the big impact here is, bringing in the fact that, the return on the investment of the returns are multiple tiered. It's not just about financial returns. It's also about curriculum returns and intellectual returns, the whole bit. I can't wait to see where the conversation leads, especially by the time you get to your final, your final forum. It's going to be a pretty good day.
It is. I like kicking off today with the focus on instruction. And where I came up with a concept for the return on instruction was the idea as a finance major coming into K-12. I mean, being hired to roll out online learning, it made sense, right, from a numbers perspective to start looking at online learning as a way to deliver at least those hard to fill classes or the hard to staff classes.
Yep.
But I didn't really find any cost of capital in K-12. I mean, I know some districts have to borrow money, for technology, so maybe their bonds come with a certain cost. But mostly, at least in Michigan, with the state of Michigan writing the check for most of the operations, if not all the operations, the cost of capital calculation kind of went out the window. So I'm like, where's the sustainability conversation?
Right.
Usually cost of capital says, can we sustain this? Can we pay for what it costs to make this investment? And I thought that the lack of cost of capital or the low cost of capital might make it harder, right, to make those investment decisions when it comes to technology and kind of keep things status quo. So I've been looking for ways to kind of come up with calculations that said, this is a no-brainer. We should be investing in technology. And when I was with the state of Michigan, we were able to actually get some dedicated funding for technology for online assessment. And we really went about it. Like, how do we spend this in a way that would leverage these dollars beyond, their own worth, right? It was $50 million, 0.4% of the budget. How are you really going to move all students to online assessment with 0.4% of the budget? You just don't go out and buy new computers, right? And boxes and wires, because at the end of the day, we tried that in Michigan, and it's not sustainable. And so we really started looking for ways to kind of leverage those dollars to get, not just 10x, but maybe 20x, 30x return. And it's because we already knew districts were spending money on assessment, they're spending money on technology. What if we got them all spending it together?
Right.
And so we started to look at incentivizing the spending of funds to get to where we wanted to go. So we were at 0% tested online in Michigan in 2012 when they started the program. And by 2014, after running it 4 years, 95% of students in Michigan tested online. So 0 to 95 in 4 years. But I wasn't too surprised that happened, because when we started offering a little bit of the money as incentive, right, for district participation in the overall program, we offered a little bit of the money and got 94% of districts to say, sign on the first year. So if you got 94% of districts saying, hey, we're going to collectively work together, we're going to collaborate, we're going to come up with the best means possible for moving online because we all want to do it, right, with just a little bit of investment, then I believe that was the win. Getting everybody to collaborate and agree, right, that's the target. My frustration with the program, even though it was wildly successful, is that test scores went down. Because we were focusing again on how many students can we test and not how can we help those students perform better. So I think that's really the challenge, and that's why I'm happy to be talking about return on instruction at FETC, is that how can we make those investments wisely and leverage better student outcomes? And that's got to be our bottom line going forward.
All right, thanks, Bruce Umpstead. And you can catch more of Bruce at FETSI. That's in Orlando, January 24th through the 27th, so just a couple of weeks away. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk to him live during our conference coverage. Remember, if you are going to be at FETSI in Orlando, come look for us. We're going to be on the level 2 concourse just outside of the session. Yes. And then just letting you know what else we're doing. On February 1st, we're going to be at SAU in Magnolia for a robotics exhibition. So that's going to be pretty cool. Different schools from around the area going to bring in their robotics teams and put on an exhibition.
Beep boop,
So-
bop, boop, beep. Okay, I'll stop with the
It's kind
background
of like
noises.
that. It's kind of like that.
Hey, yeah, you can check. So catch more Bruce when we're there. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to FETSI. I got my swim trunks out and my suntan lotion. Go ahead to Orlando. I wouldn't do that to anyone.
I didn't need that.
Hey, listen, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to listen
all
to a
good.
little one of our favorite artists, Nick C, and the song of the week, Just Love Me. We'll be right back with EduTech Guys.
When your eyes they gaze upon me, and your silhouette is near, all I will ask of you is to love me down, 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 with your mercy all around, and when your poetry is clear, all I will ask of you is to love me now, now, now. Oh, I love you more than words can say. Oh, I ain't throwing that word, no. Just love me, just love me, just love like you want to. Just love like only you know to. I could fade out in your love, like the summer's warm sunlight. And all I will ask of you is to hold me tight. With your gentle arms around me, like whisper winds at mine. Just have to ask of you to go all night, night, night. Oh, I love you more than words can say. Oh, I ain't throwing that word, no. Just love me, just love me, just love like you want to.
music from Nick C. and Just Love Me here on EduTechGuys Radio.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, we want to thank, Nick C's been one of our favorite artists for quite some time.
Oh, yeah, man.
He's always been on the show, and we always want to thank him. And he always is, one of our real popular. We always get a lot of good follows when we post his stuff out. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
Hey, so you know what time it is? It is
Google Tip of the Week.
And this week, the Google Tip of the Week, I want to thank the good doc for putting this out there for me. What has happened is there's been some enhancements to the coursework in the Google Classroom API, and it released today.
Cool.
So a lot of developers use the Classroom API to integrate their applications with Google Classroom. And last year, Google had announced the ability for external applications to read and write assignments. So they got a lot of feedback about that. So today, they're making coursework endpoints more robust with additional management capabilities. Applications can now create and update questions.
Wow.
They can modify and delete coursework, and they can add drive items and YouTube videos to coursework and student submissions inside the Classroom API, which is pretty amazing.
That's
now,
awesome.
One of the really cool ones is this one for me, former band director and a musician. Flat Education, which is a collaborative music notation app. It already integrates with Classroom to let teachers quickly synchronize rosters and assignments and design music activities accessible to students with just one click from Google Classroom. So Flat has been piloting this new API functionality to create a more seamless integration. So they say that the support of Google Drive and the Google Classroom API is simply great. All the music scores created with G Suite for education accounts on Flat being already Drive files, they can now directly add your Drive files into the assignments and student submissions. So that Flat company's already taken that ability to take a Drive item and put it into a Google submission and inside the Google assignments, which that's pretty crazy.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. And and for those of you that we just skyrocketed way over your head, because I know it got pretty technical in there. I think the focus is on the last thing that you just talked about. The really cool thing about this is you're going to have these other companies who are able to develop whatever their product is, or if they already have a product, be able to tie in their product directly into the classroom. So in the one, like you just said, in that other program, you can create the music, the sheet music, and then
put it directly into the assignment or
exactly
into the
exactly.
Now, hey, something that they added before, and we'll just touch on it, is that they've added some updates where parents and guardians can manage updates. What happens is Classroom sends out daily and weekly summaries to guardians and stuff with API. That was a couple days back, but it's one of their big pushes.
Sure.
And so it's evident that Google is changing their APIs and modifying them pretty quickly at this point. So now it's been some major API changes in less than, let's say, 15 days.
Yeah, well, and anytime you hear API in a conversation about technology, you're talking about taking one piece of software, generally speaking, and connecting it to another piece of software. And so with Google developing these APIs, these pathways into Google Classroom and out of, for that matter, I mean, that just means that's going to be so much more that folks are going to be able to do with Google Classroom and their students, and whether it's the parents and guardians or whether it's assignments and tests. I mean, it's amazing how
pretty crazy cool.
Yes, and how broad Google is basically letting things get.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Opening up.
Really taking control in the education market.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
So thanks, Google. Thanks, Google.
Thanks, Google.
Hey, listen, it's been a great show.
Man, it's been awesome.
Next week, hope to have another guest on. We'll start tweeting that out pretty soon. And we'll get back where you don't have to listen to us all the time. We'll also be pushing FETSI pretty great because FETSI's right around the corner. A lot of great stuff happening at FETSI. New tracks in tech, in special ed. All kinds of new stuff happening at FETSI. Don't forget to catch us there starting on the 23rd, 24th. Every day we'll be broadcasting live from it, so you can keep up with us and all the shenanigans happening in Orlando, Florida.
Shenanigans.
So, hey, we're going to get out of here. I'm Jeff Matlock.
I'm David Henderson.
We'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to EduTechGuys Radio, radio.edutechguys.com.
The opinions expressed on the site and this program to those of participants is not intended to and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of any specific educational entity, sponsor, company, state, or government agency.